PJ Net Live Part 2. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, and we are ready to rock. We have Bethany Jett standing by in our green room, and we have a bumper rolling. We have a background. The chat room is eagerly waiting. So without further ado, let's switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. For those of you viewing PJ Net Live, I am especially grateful to you, bunch of great folks out there. I'm looking in the chat room and I see several of you. Great to have those of you who are here live at patriotjournalist.com. For those of you watching this streaming on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, welcome to you as well. And if you're watching the recorded version of this, welcome. We just welcome you. And speaking of welcome, I kind of knew most of you are expecting to see Michelle Medlock Adams, who appears here every Wednesday night at 9:30 unless she's busy. Well, is Michelle ever busy? Well, yeah, she sure is. But her co-conspirator and partner in crime is with us on this special occasion, Bethany Jett. It's good to have you, even if you're just filling in. You do pretty good at that.
Thanks.
So we were kind of wondering what to talk about, and there are many things to talk about. We thought maybe the Super Bowl halftime. Actually, you put a post up on that.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And if you're interested, you can go on Facebook and read what Bethany Jett had to say about the Super Bowl halftime show.
I did.
And but we'll leave that one alone unless you just want to. If you just want to uncork one, go ahead. But otherwise, we'll move on.
Well, I'll just say I don't normally jump in on those things when it's like super controversial. I just kind of like usually sit back, like those memes where you're like eating the popcorn, watching people go crazy. But I've been going back through my first book, which was a young adult nonfiction on dating, and there's a whole chapter about being confident and modest and all those things. And I was just like, all right, I have to say something. I can't just, I had to say something. And then I wished I could have closed the comments. So I don't know how, it is what it is. It's still there.
Yes, you did uncork some comments. And,
yeah. But
fortunately, most people saw through the smoke screen of so-called entertainment. That was no, wasn't entertainment. There was an agenda driving it, and I don't think that agenda came from above. I'm more inclined to believe it came from below. But anyway, but thanks for speaking out. You certainly weren't alone, and I concur with you. If you are talented in theatrics and dance and all that, that's one thing. But
yeah,
what we saw went a lot further than theatrics. But I love the technical merit. Did you notice all the lasers and pyrotechnics and all the trust and all? See, that really fires me up, because we're going to do that. But we're going to do it for God, for the kingdom. We're going to draw people in with all that stuff. This old guy loves all that stuff. And anyway, so we decided not to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show. We decided not to talk about the State of the Union address or some of the theatrics that surrounded that. We decided not to talk about the Senate acquittal today. What we did decide to do is, not long ago, you'll have to zero in, it was about a week or two ago, there was a powwow. I called it. When I called it that, you didn't know what I was talking about, but that's kind of what it was, right?
Yeah, we at Serious Writer and Platinum Literary, which I own with Michelle, and then I own Serious Writer with Kyle, and Michelle's the chairman of our board. We thought we should probably go ahead and figure out our year, kind of plan out the events, where we're going to be, and all those things. And they were both able to come down to my house here in Tampa. And the really fun part about this was that Kyle's wife, Patty, and their 3 kids, who are about the same ages as my kids, they all got to meet some of them for the first time. And that was wonderful because they play online together. I don't know, let's see, Kyle and I have been in business together like 2.5 years, almost 2.5 years. I don't know. And they've become friends, via video games. And then my oldest and Kyle's oldest went to church camp last summer together, which was so great. But the other ones hadn't met. So they had a whole week of just getting to enjoy each other and really get to know each other. And it was great to have Patty down here. It was just wonderful.
You said that it was about 2.5 years ago when you and Kyle formally arranged Serious Writer.
Yeah.
Tell us how things have changed since then.
Since that beginning?
Mm-hmm. Have you done him any good at all?
We always talk about the personality profiles. He likes the DISC personality profile the best. That's the DISC. And so normally it's like a grid. The D and the I are at the top, and then the S is under the I, and then you have the C under the D. And, when Kyle talks about our story, he said, he had Almost an Author, which was this blog site for writers, to write for writers, to help build platform. And what I brought to the table was Serious Writer Academy, where I was having people teach workshops and instruction for people who couldn't make it to conferences. And he always said we each had each other's part of the puzzle. And so when we came together, it was like it made a whole. And personality-wise, Kyle is a DI and I'm an SC. So we both kind of again, make up that personality profile together. So, there's back and forth, and sometimes we disagree about stuff. But all in all, I think that we've come a long way, and we're excited about 2020.
So here you have Kyle, your partner on one side, then you have Michelle, your partner on the other side. So you've got this triad of I don't know what to call it, but anyway. So y'all get together. It's the first of the year, good time to be sort of planning out, visioning, as I would call it.
Yeah.
So what's coming up, or what'd you talk about?
Oh, we planned out our events, and I just finished my marketing PR communications master's degree, and as part of the final capstone project, we had to do a PR campaign on a company, and so I was allowed to do Serious Writer, and that was fantastic. So as part of our first day of planning, and we had meetings with some of our partners, I was able to actually give that presentation to Kyle and Michelle, her, being there as part of our board. And then I think I have a 28-page report that I did too, and just kind of outlining where we want to go, where the marketing is going to be, what we're going to focus on, breaking down timeline and budgets and all those kinds of things. And I find that stuff to be really exciting. And then we met with Lynn Johnson, who is the director at Right to Publish, the conference that is held in Wheaton, Illinois. And we sponsor their contests and work with her and do some marketing things for them too. So, we met with Nakia Kelly, who is the publisher with Change Her Story. And we have a lot of stuff that's coming soon that we haven't released yet too, but hopefully a lot of great things. So we're really excited.
Well, I'm on the outside looking in, and I see things, and sometimes I'm surprised. The biggest surprise that I see looking at Serious Writer is one, there's not the rivalry and territorialism that I would expect in a competitive industry. For example, when you have your conference, I would be trying to challenge myself. What do we offer at our conference? I would assume that there's a customer out there that can't be at all the conferences. Why would you want to be at ours? This is just basic elevator pitch stuff. What's different about your business? Why should somebody trade with you? But I don't see a lot of that. You all speak highly of one another. Go to as many as you can. If you can go to theirs, go to theirs. That seems a little bit more, too much cooperation for the dog eat dog business world, out there that I'm used to. Dog eat dog,
Yeah.
So that struck me as odd. The other thing that struck me in a positive way was that Kyle seems to be pushing the envelope to reach out to the little guy. I'm saying? Guy is intended gender neutral there, but
yeah.
Not everybody can afford to plow thousands of dollars into developing their craft, honing their craft. And I was fortunate enough to be on a call with Kyle, with Michelle, and
Yeah.
this is from his heart. He's saying, what can we do that people can actually afford, that they can move themselves forward? And it's not about selling something or making money. It's about offering something that, give it to them in smaller bites where they can't take the big bite. That impressed me about him.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, that's one of our core principles at Serious Writer is we try to be over generous where we can. And, if you were to take the content that we have, like in our Serious Writer Academy, for example, I mean, some people charge thousands of dollars for that kind of material or the length of it. And, we price ours, like some are $10, $29, $49, and $99. I mean, at some, like, depending on the level, we don't think that just because you can't attend a conference, you shouldn't be able to get the same kind of information that people are getting. You might miss out on networking opportunities, but the training should still be there.
Well, and there's all kinds of ways to network today that didn't exist just a few years back. I mean, when I look at some of the, I'm going to say synergy, but that's not the right word, but it's an organic feeling that when you go to our chat room, you can feel the warmth, you can feel the love. But of course, it's digital. And I've said, before, I've made friends for life. Barbara and I have been working together, collaborating since 2010. And it was only, 3 years ago that I met her for the first time. It's amazing how this electronic digital age has facilitated things for the writer community that were unfathomable just a few years ago.
No, I agree. And like for the North Carolina conference that's coming up at the beginning of March, not all of the editors can take time off work, or sometimes they live, too far away to get them in time, just the logistics and costs and things. And so this year, our first or second year, we did online pitches where we would have a computer set up, and then we'd have an editor there to take live pitches at the conference, just as if they were face to face with each other. But that can overload the broadband or the Wi-Fi sometimes. So this year we reached out to a few, and we reached out to a few, and they're going to do pitches after the conference, but they're going to be taking pitches and proposals, and we're going to be sending them via email. So even though they couldn't be there, they still wanted to make sure they were getting, stuff from the great writers that we've got coming. And so just to be able to say, okay, these 4 people can't be here, but they still want to hear from you, and here's an opportunity to pitch and maybe get your book published. We're just trying to kind of think outside the box with these things.
I love thinking outside the box. I was on the Serious Writer Family Facebook page and our group, and I saw an interesting thread. And I'm not one to pile on much. I consider myself an outsider looking in and try to let you writers do what you do. But someone asked a question that I get these commercials, online, the little sponsored ads, and they scream, "Email is dead." Okay, because and obviously they've got something other than email that they're selling,
right?
But the fact that I'm seeing it more and more makes me wonder: is email dying, fading out? Has it seen its best day? But then this lady asked a question about an email list, and you guys keep pounding the message: build platform, build platform. And I just said, go read Seth Godin's book, Permission Marketing. Where are you at? How important is email and email lists to an author or writer?
Well, if Michelle was here, she would tell you the story where she and another friend of hers were pitching a book to a publisher, and they were on the call with the publisher, actually. And when it came for her to talk about her platform, even though she has sold millions of copies of books, she hadn't built an email list because she hadn't had to do that for her career. And she was kind of fighting Kyle on that a little bit. And the publisher basically turned down their book. They didn't get the contract because of that, because she didn't have an email list. And I think email is super important. It may not have the conversions that it once did, but I think if we're doing email right, it can. But I think it's important because if Facebook shuts down Instagram and Facebook like tonight, you lose everyone that you're connected to. Mm-hmm. The only thing that you control is the people who have chosen to opt in for your newsletter or for whatever it is that you're sending out. That doesn't go away just because a social media platform decides to go under, and that happens.
Okay. Well, I'm not worried about Facebook going under, but I am worried
about.
Under,
I'm saying shut down.
Well, let me say it this way: I have seen many people that had significant voices on social media platforms find themselves in discipline, in jail, for not literal jail, but it's getting harder and harder to say anything of significance without getting yourself in, quote, trouble with the people who run the platform. And I've always said, I don't agree with these rules, but we are guests at their dinner table, and we need to show, and so I think your point really resonates, because no matter if you start pushing it, you may find yourself suspended or disciplined in some way on social media. Your email list is yours. It's not, exactly. It's independent of social media platforms and some of the ramifications therein. Now, I know that there is, and I have read Seth Godin's book, Permission Marketing. Yet I don't have an email list to this day, but I do know this. I learned from that there is a way to do email in such a way that the people that get it are looking forward to getting it, and reading it. And I guess that's why I hadn't done it, because I can't do the perfect one, so I'm not doing one at all. But I don't think it's all about numbers. It's about how a call to action would work in email.
Mm-hmm. Are you asking about the call to action? Like, I agree with you about the numbers. I think it's important to know that a targeted email list can sometimes be better for you than a large email list that doesn't respond. So I think looking at your open rates and click through is really important to help, gear your content. I mean, if we think our content is the best thing ever and people aren't responding to it, then your content's not that great, and your email list is a way to, every time you send one out, to be learning from the people that are receiving it.
You don't know this, but I developed software, and so there's a parallel here. You've got somebody who's written a manuscript. Okay, they've got this idea. Okay, they're pitching you, and I assure you that they think more highly of their idea than anyone else on the planet. Now,
I had a lady tell me. I don't know if I should say this. I had a lady tell me just this week that her book was the greatest thing ever written next to the Bible. And I was like, oh. Okay,
well, let me tell you, if that gets brought up again, how I deal with that type of statement. Okay? I say, I understand that your idea, you are the biggest fan of your idea on this entire planet. You think more highly of your idea than anyone else on the planet, and they'll agree with you. I say, now let's state that conversely. What that means, ma'am or sir, is that everyone else on the planet therefore thinks less of your idea than you do. Let's get real.
Yes, I had to kind of let that comment go in the email. I didn't respond to that.
Yeah, but it's human nature. They should be enthusiastic about their idea. They shouldn't. I mean, what if they came to you saying, "Well, I don't even know if I should have written this, but take a look and let me know what you think."
Well, you know what? I think it's when they use it as the leverage to get you to do something, which is normally when I see those kinds of things or I hear about them. That's the first time someone has said it to me. But basically trying to guilt you into taking action on their book because it is the greatest thing next to the Bible. Okay.
Then why do you need a publisher? Just publish it.
Just publish it yourself.
Yeah, just go at it, girl. Anything that I guess there's a lot of things you talked about in the summit, so to speak, that are under a lid. Is there any teaser? Is there any hint you could give just us here about something coming up?
We are going to be opening our club, which is the one paid membership site that we have on Facebook. So we try to do as much free as possible in our family group that you mentioned on Facebook, totally free. And we're doing more live things in there. I think Kyle and I both went live last week to do agent Q&As from an author perspective, from an agent perspective. And we're going to be doing a lot more of that in the Facebook, the family Facebook group. But the club is the paid membership one, and we've got a ton of exclusive content in there. But we were closing it and opening it at random times throughout the year. We are going to go ahead and open it just full time. So, because we just think that people are in different areas of their journey, and someone might need the club for 3 months, in April. But if we don't open it during that time, they may not be able to get the information they need, and maybe only need it for a short period. So we're trying to figure out like what is the best way for them to have membership plans so they're not tied in forever, and like all those things. Just trying to do business the right way, but also make it really valuable. And one thing we just opened up to the club members is we're giving them media kit pages on the Serious Writer website to kind of just help maybe build platform or traffic, or a place for them to. Sometimes it's nice to be able to give a website that's not your own website, because then sometimes that feels a little bit promo-y. And I know that, I'm a member of Christian Women Speakers, and when someone's asking for speaking stuff, they have my website, but sometimes it's nice to have a third-party website that also is sort of saying, yes, like, she's valid, she's legit, we've got her profile here. So we're doing that too, and we opened that up this week as well. So they're excited about that.
Sounds like y'all did a lot of business, but you also had some fun.
We did, and froze at Disney.
Welcome to Florida.
It was so cold.
Bethany, I invited a corporate guest down one time to Tallahassee, and we actually got a hotel in Panama City Beach. There was a convention.
Yeah.
I kid you not, it snowed in Panama City Beach that day. I kid you not.
No.
Once in 100 years that would happen. I mean, this guy came from up north to get away from that.
That's exactly right. And Michelle's from Indiana. Kyle's from Michigan. And so it was still warmer here. They were kind of laughing because we call it Florida winter when you're in a hoodie and flip-flops, like that's, you still got to wear the flip-flops. But it was cold that day. It was freezing actually. And, but we had a great time. And it was, one thing that Kyle and I had talked about was we do so much work throughout the year on this because he still has his full-time job and I've got flat lit kids. Like, everyone's busy and we don't really take enough time to kind of like just do the fun stuff or just play together and be together when there isn't the work time, because we love to work on what we do. We love it. So this was nice. And it was nice to have the families together too. I mean, it was so great to have Michelle there, and she met a couple of friends, Wendy Lanier, who's a nonfiction children's author. She was there with her husband, and we got to hang out with them. And then, all the kids were together, and it was just really great just to enjoy each other without having to talk business, even though we still did at times, but
Well, it's called, we call it fun, but the word is recreation, which means to what? Recreate yourself. You burn out. You got to fill the tank back up. You know what I'm saying? I can't lecture anybody on this because I don't do it. I don't practice what I preach, but I yearn for the day when I can just go to the mountains and just walk around in my boxer shorts. Just do nothing. Yeah. Just do nothing.
Do nothing.
But yet have internet. Because when I know this is true because I write software and I've learned this, and you will affirm this. When you get an inspiration, if you wake up at 2:00 in the morning with an inspiration, don't you dare go back to sleep until you have done. You know what I'm saying? When the juices are flowing, you've got to pour yourself into it, and if you don't, you're never going to make it. Because you'll wake up the next day, first the inspiration will be gone. Number two, the things of the world start crowding it out. No. Yeah. You got to make, when I get an inspiration, I believe in large part that came from God. When you woke up in the middle of the night with an idea, who else did it come from? The dog sleeping next to you? Come on,
I just don't remember it if I don't write it down.
I got to jump. And in fact, I'm going to be putting some things off tonight because I have been putting off and saying I got to get all these things done before I work on the new pjnet.tv website. And it dawned on me, if I wait until all the lights are green before I begin the journey, I'll never move. So I've
Yeah.
kind of so I'm going to set some things aside tonight, folks. We're making some real progress. And once we get that done, or once I get that done, we are going to let the dogs loose. And
Yay.
it's going to be fun. Bethany, we're out of time. Was there anything on your? I've said a lot here, and I try not to, but you guys inspire me. Anything else you want to share before we close up?
Well, I know a lot of people are getting ready for conference season, so I just want to encourage, the writers specifically, I guess, out there, just, do your best work on your proposals and have someone look at them, get them edited, but don't not go or don't submit something just because you're scared. I see a lot of people talking about that online, and you've got to try. One of my mottos right now is done is better than none. So I'm trying to live by that a little bit.
Done is better than none. Okay.
Done is better than none.
Done is better than none. I like that. That'll preach. Let me work on that one in my sleep tonight. God may inspire me. Done is better than none. Bethany, you have always. This is not your first time standing in for Michelle, and you have been a
Yeah.
joy to us. And Michelle's great, but it's good to have a little variety. And you and her are so sister like. I don't
Yes.
know what the word. And I'll be honest with you.
That's the word.
I'm sure you realize how blessed you are to have her as a mentor.
I prayed for her for a long time.
You done good, girl. You done good.
Yeah.
Bethany, thanks for sharing tonight. Appreciate you filling in. Look forward to seeing you in North Carolina, I guess.
Yes, so excited.
All right, we'll see you there.
Okay.
There we go. Folks, never a dull moment here on PJNet Live. Now, tomorrow night. Let's, you heard, I already told you, when I get done here, that PJNet.tv website is getting all the dominoes lined up. I know you can't see it yet, but trust me, when I push those dominoes, tomorrow night is Thursday night. Now, Thursday night, normally we would have JD. Now, he is traveling. He's in the great state of North Carolina. And he has arranged to have Pauline Hilton appear tomorrow night at 9:30, and Barbara will remind me quickly who is here at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. She'll put it in she's going to send me a message right over there. Anyway, we will start, I believe, at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. If you don't know who it is, like me, go to facebook.com/pjnet.tv. Now, we don't talk much about that yet because, again, we want the website built before we pour gas on this fire. Ken Edwards, well, what's wrong with me? First Thursday. Oh, I was looking at the wrong week. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I thought it was the second week. And that'll be Ken's second appearance. Ken's a good team player. What do you think? When we post little things on, he piles on. We're going to be talking more about that teamwork thing. Doug Carter is going to tell you more at some point about teamwork. Because, folks, the difference in those who get ahead and those who follow is teamwork. And you are an important part of this team. If you are in that chat room, you are an important part of this team. And there are many positions that we have to fill. There are many players in many positions. And folks, I'm just feeling real good about all of this, and I can't wait. All right, well, it's time for me to take on a new task, and I will leave you with exactly two questions. Number one, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Christ? And number two, when was that? The challenge for all of us is to never be satisfied with either answer.